Welcome to In the Center of Her Power podcast, where you can get divine feminine soul food. The divine feminine is re-establishing itself in the world, and you need tips and tools to make it your own. Hello, everyone. This is Sanaa. I'm coming to you with part 2 of Herbs and Tarot with Lottie Spady. We did an interview on Instagram and then did an interview for the podcast because I didn't realize that I could upload the audio from the Instagram Live for the podcast. I found out that that was possible after I had already recorded another interview and then released the episode with Herbs and Tarot. She really shared some great information on that episode as well. The thing is, on this interview that we did on Instagram Live, Lottie shared some really specific information. I had hoped to include 3 tarot cards and their corresponding herbs on the Instagram Live and then 3 on the podcast. However, we ran out of time, so we did only 1 on the podcast, only 1 tarot card and herb combination on the podcast. So I wanted to make sure you have the information so that you can use it to live in the center of your power. I'm actually going to read her bio too, so you know who Lottie is and what she's done. Lottie V. Spady, community educator, wellness media maker, and practicing herbalist, is the founder of Earthseed Detroit, an educational community health program that is focused on imagining and creating the afro-future of our health through love, wellness, respect, and deep joy. Earthseed Detroit centers social justice, community empowerment, health, local access, and affordability through healthy media making, herbalism for healing, medicinal plant identification, foraging, gardening, and the creation of wellness supports such as tea blends, tinctures, elixirs, and salves. Founded in 2014, Earthseed Detroit evolved from 15 years in Detroit activism, nonprofit management, and program direction. She facilitated community workshops in media, food, and environmental justice, community health, and civic engagement. Lottie did workshops for children, teens, and adults. In the Do-It-Yourself Community Health Series, Lottie teaches seasonal plant identification, herbal formulations and medicine making, as well as edible cooking. Other courses include Herbs and Tarot, which we'll be talking about in this interview, Plants as Spiritual Allies, also something we talk about, and self-development through vision collage. She also holds sacred space for nature-based healing retreat work, camping, glamping, outdoor education, and botanical studies in rural Michigan. Tell me, how can one learn about herbs? Like, how did you know which herbs go with which tarot cards?
So that was quite a long process. Like, I don't quite think I knew what I was biting off when I said I would do this. I knew that herbs had astrological correspondences. So for example, like Gemini, is Mercury, and I know that the tarot card is the lovers, that goes along with that. So I knew there was this astrological correspondence to tarot. And then I knew that I had been drawn toward making herbal medicine under certain moon phases. I started to notice that in my medicine making journey. And it made me tune in till I was like, what is going on here? And then that's when I kind of stumbled on, it's not new. I was the new one.
Okay.
Find out that there are herbal correspondences for every astrological sign and every element, like earth, fire, water, air, that kind of thing.
Wow. Okay, so tell us about the Octavia E. Butler Tarot Card Deck project. Now, I know Octavia Butler. Octavia Butler is one of my favorite authors, actually. I've read Parable of the Talents, Parable and then at least 4 other books by Octavia Butler. And I should go back and reread them actually, because it's been probably 15 or 20 years since I started reading her books. Maybe more than that. But anyway, how did you become involved with this tarot card? And actually your company's name is Earthseed. So tell us about that relationship.
That was just a wonderful, happy coincidence, I think. That, you know, like I was telling you before, I think Lottie of the future, like, went back to Lottie of the past and was like, you're going to need to know this. So here's some info. Here, read this parable of the sower. And it, you know, touched me so deeply that I just named my blog Earthseed Detroit. But this project was totally separate than that. I just happened to be up in Idlewild, Michigan, which, of course, sacred land with the Petty Propolis poetry event. And she, Tawana Petty, had us doing learn shops with each other. And Adrienne Marie Brown was there doing a learn shop on emergent strategy. And she and I go way back in the food justice world. And I did a workshop on dreams and herbs for dreaming. And after that, she was like, you know, I'm working on this project. I'm working on this project with another person who dreamed up the idea of the Octavia E. Butler Tarot Deck. And she was like, would you be interested in like matching up an herb for the tarot cards? I was like, what? I was like, say no more. So I didn't even, you know, like I said, I didn't know. I mean, I knew a tarot deck was 78 cards. I know there's a lot of herbs, but then you add in this variable of the astrological correspondences and planetary stuff with it. I was like, oh, okay, wow, okay.
That is like a Gemini thing, right? To be able to put all the, use that brain and, like, you know, yeah. The Geminis are thinkers, right?
And I'm a double Mercury too. So I remember one of my astrological friends was like, oh, I pity the person that has to keep you stimulated mentally. Is that a good thing? But anyway, and it's been
luckily you can keep your own mind stimulated, right? Because you have enough going on in your own. you have enough of your own thoughts to keep everything stimulated, right?
That's right. Yeah, like, okay. It's been a multi-year project. I mean, that meeting, that conversation was like 3 years ago. This project has been going on for over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very slow process. It was a slow process of, you know, the team coming together, then the designers, the artists that created each card, then working with the publishing house. So it's a really, really slow process. It's been wonderful, the best team imaginable. I'll keep saying this, like hashtag Octavia E. Butler Tarot is how you want to keep up with what's going on. But yeah, that's how I got into it. Just, I think, like a little destiny, like, there you go.
So tell us, where are we in the process of the tarot card deck being available for us to purchase? Because I definitely want to get a deck for sure.
So many people are excited. It is in the very final design, tweaking, fine tooth combing, back combing the book, because it's a very nice, it's not your typical, what people call with the tarot deck, you get what's called a little white book, the LWB, the little white book that fits in the box. Okay. This ain't that. Final stages, but it most likely is going to be a few more months before it goes to press. So that's why it's really important to just keep up with that hashtag for the latest when you can pre-order, you know, all those kinds of things. But it's going to still be a few months.
Okay, so still a few months. I know I've been asking for a while. Where can I get my deck? And like my hands are like hot, because, you know, this will be my first tarot deck. So you told me before, that there's a difference between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. Can you tell us what that difference is?
Yeah, just briefly. So tarot has a real structure to it. Like there are your major arcana cards, which I had made sure I wanted to write this down. 22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana. And your major arcana cards usually represent major life events. It's like the fool's journey, a journey of self-awareness, of completion. That's why it goes from the fool, like the optimistic newbie, to the world, like when you have the knowledge of the world. And then the minor arcana are usually divided into 4 suits, and they represent other issues in life, daily issues in life, other nuances. And they can be, you know, a lot of times people can put their own twist on it. So it doesn't have to be like swords, you know, swords, wands, cups, you know, they'll put fire, earth, air, water, but it still maintains that structure. And the main thing is, like, if you learn how to read, like say Rider Waite, the basic tarot deck, even though people put their own spin on it, the Queen of Swords is gonna still have the same, even in another deck, even if it's a flower deck, even if it's a, I don't know, beer can deck, it's gonna, the Queen of Swords has a prototype pretty much the same, you know what I mean, throughout any tarot deck. Although, like I said, people put their own spin on it. Oracle is wide open. It could be 10 cards, it could be 100 cards in the deck. It can be, the definition might be on the card, or it might be just a word or a picture, and be totally open to intuitive interpretation. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more free-flowing. It rarely has suits, although sometimes they do. Sometimes they divide them into, like, you know, flowers, trees, roots, and leaves. You know what I mean? But it's still loose, but it's acceptable for professionals as well as amateurs. It's no, like, people may want to put a hierarchy on stuff, but it's, you know, I use both. Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've talked to people who said they use both too, and I've had readings where they use both kinds of decks. So now let me ask you: have you done any YouTube videos on your YouTube channel on tarot cards? Or I know you have some herbalism videos, mm-hmm. but have you done any on tarot?
So I did one, which was just a sort of a deck roundup. It was all of my own plant-based tarot and oracle decks, like a show and tell. I've done a few unboxings of some plant-related tarot decks, but coming up, especially since you've given this opportunity, like, to start talking about it more in depth, I will be doing some tarot and herb specific videos, like, you know, maybe using Gemini as an example, like, how do you identify your herb, you know, and what are some things you could do with it? So those will be coming up really soon.
Okay, okay, well, we'll look forward. What I would love to do now is get some, start to see a little bit of the deck and hear, like, the herbs and how you came up with the herbs. And we, like, so give us an example of some of the cards that you worked on.
So I tried to print them out, and we'll see how that looks on my, you know, I'll share it, but just as an example. So these 3 cards.
Okay.
And if you go to, again, the hashtag Octavia E Butler Tarot.com, I'm mm-hmm. sorry, Octavia E Butler Tarot, you can learn more about each artist. All of these artists were, it's an all-Black team. They were all instrumental in creating artwork for Octavia E. Butler's estate prior to this, like for books and graphic novels, or they were activists, social justice activists with their art. So just take, for example, the 6 of Earth.
Okay.
That's the one in the middle.
Okay.
And I had to print this off because I keep it all in my head.
Right, right.
So the Six of Earth, I like the way it's structured. This talks about Earth represents like work, tangible things, earthly things, the earthly realm. It might be your physical home. It might be physical land. So this card tends to mean we can all become just right for the task at hand. We have or can develop it off. People around us can support us as we negotiate the future. What can you give? What do you need to take? Where can you negotiate? So the herb I chose for that card is rosemary. Rosemary is known for long memory. It's an aromatic, which when you use aromatics, they're good for jogging your memory. They're good for bringing you present to the present. It's also a herb. It's for wisdom, responsibilities. So that's why I chose that herb.
Mm-hmm.
And then for each card, I put ways you could utilize it. So say you had pulled that card that morning and you wanted to put rosemary in your life. So you can always do a tea. Rosemary makes a great hair rinse. You can infuse apple cider vinegar or witch hazel with rosemary to make a facial toner. You can make a rosemary infused oil. You could use it to make a rosemary shortbread cookies. So now we're kind of getting into spell casting. Like, you know, you think of it in total, like, what are you trying to sort of convey? Like making rosemary shortbread cookies might be the sweetness you want to bring into it with remembering who I am. At the very least, if it came up in a reading, you could put it on your altar. You could put it in your coat pocket. You could put it in the car with you, you know, as a talisman for, say, the job interview coming up. If you're writing a business plan, you might decide to, you know, crunch it up and put it in. So using the tarot to make your reading, the herbs that come out of it, you can think of them as a tea blend. You can think of them for a bath blend. You could think of them for making artwork with them. You could make a Mojo bag, wear them on you.
So yeah, I want to know more about the spell casting and the Mojo bag. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I really think the more opportunities we have to keep, sort of like the way a vision board works, or sort of the way prayers work, the more you keep things at the forefront of your consciousness, the more energetically you're sort of giving that thing power, you know, giving it the ability to live and manifest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wear my Mojo bag or when I under my pick, it is full of all my intentions or the herbs that represent my intentions. And when I'm in it, I'll think about it all day and just sort of touch it from time to time, press it to my heart, you know what I mean? Or, and I just feel like it helps center my whole person into the manifestation of my dream or my goal. And to me, that's spell casting. I mean, you know, people define it how they want to. I mean, spells are just, you can write, you know, writing is spelling, you know,
Well, yeah, it's just like parents and teachers cast spells over children all the time, telling them what they can or cannot do or can or cannot be.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I just found it really empowering to like create my sacred space, to have my candles. I'll use the herbs to like dress my candles, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the time to concentrate my energy in that way, I feel I've seen has made, you know, it, I won't say come to me, but it just positioned me within a reality that included that. You know, we create our own reality. So the more I focused my attention in on it, the more I was a part of that reality, you know? I was like, oh, okay. So I use my tarot cards and my oracle cards. I do weekly readings for myself on Sundays to see what the week ahead is about. I don't really do divination, like I don't do fortune telling. I don't really dabble in other people's lives. Like I'm not gonna do a reading and talk to you about someone else, because I don't feel like I have permission to do that. I like it as a tool, a person, and to sort of orient my week, and then see how many things I can pull together to support an action plan around the reading. Because we be getting these readings and then walk out the door like, oh, okay, and I wouldn't think about it anymore. But how do you make an action plan for the reading that you just had? And the herbs, I feel, are an extension of my commitment to that action plan,
Mm-hmm. Now, I would say that you're good at manifesting. I was thinking that you manifested primarily through the vision books and vision boards that you've done. Now, would you say that these are other tools that you use for manifestation?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's all, again, as many tools that I can put at I don't mean my disposal, but as many it working for me. I'm gonna use, because it was the same like with the vision boards, right? It went from this, I don't know, externalized, like, oh, what do I want? I'm gonna put a picture of a car. Oh, I'm gonna put a picture of a big house. To me, really understanding that, wait a minute, if I'm not getting what I say I want, then I must need to go deeper. And how can I create a vision board that is more intuitive, where the universe is telling me, like, it just got real deep. Like the intuitive vision boards is a whole nother thing, but I definitely think these are both a couple of many tools to use for manifestation, for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in the next workshop you do on vision boarding, we have to maybe include some other methods of manifestation, because I know people are really interested in that. So okay, so we have rosemary. What's another card?
Okay.
Herb too.
We'll do. You froze, so I hope I'm not talking over you.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Okay. 5 of water. This is the 5 of water here. It's a very abstract interpretation of that card, according to what the artist wanted to do. But the 5 of water, which can also be the 5 of cups, if you're familiar with other forms of tarot, is about heartbreak. When the heart releases what it loves, and how we can feel as if we're losing a crucial part of ourselves, whether it's romantic, friendship, family. But we need the time to get away. We need time to get to the understanding of the wisdom within the pain. So the question around it is, what are you releasing? And the herb that I chose was horsetail. Now, horsetail in the medicinal world is full of silica. It's used to repair connective tissue, connective joints. It's great for your hair, like silica, for your nails. It helps them grow long and strong. So that's why I chose it. It's about repair, healing, connectivity. Horsetail also, if you look at the way the herb is made, and there's a picture of each herb in the book, it has a little, at the top, it's almost like a toothbrush, like an abrasive tip that was actually used for scrubbing back in the day. So that abrasiveness, because heartbreak can feel like an abrasion, but that can help reveal new growth. It can reveal what's coming. And it can be brewed as a tea for drinking. It's not ideal for long-term use. So this is like a short-term, intensive healing moment. It can be used in a fresh flower bouquet, because they're tall and skinny, and that's another lovely way to get herbs into your life, is to I make like what's called a weedy bouquet of all those roadside weeds, but I chose horsetail to accompany the 5 of water.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So okay, so what's the third one? So we're gonna do 3 here, and then on the podcast we'll do 3 more.
The
So you
third one is the 4 of air.
okay.
And so that would be the 4 of, I always forget, is that swords or wands? I think it's swords. But that card is about, sometimes we need a reset. A moment to sit with what has been accomplished, what has been lost, and to meditate on who and how you are. It's about a reset. And how can you give yourself time for this reset? And I chose mullein as an herb because mullein is an awesome respiratory herb. And what came to mind for me for this card is catching your breath. You know, how you need time to catch your breath. And it's rejuvenation, it's rejuvenating, it's comforting, and it's strengthening. So when you need to take that break, mullein is a great herb. You can burn it and use it as like a smudge or a sage. It's good for asthma. Like, it is healing. It's like contradictory. Like, people don't think smoking something would be good for your lungs, but smoking dried mullein is actually very healing to the respiratory system. So you can make it ceremonially into a smudge and add it to herbal smoking blends. But so that's what I thought around that 4 of water, like the need for a reset was mullein will help you catch your breath.
Well, I have mullein growing in my garden. Well, let me just say I have mullein growing in the yard. Because garden makes you think about this really, manicured, ornate place, which is not really, not really how it is. It's just like, it's all growing in it together. It looks good. It's back, so it's, I like it. I like it. I think this year I'm going to try to manicure it a little bit more and have a few more flowers. But I have mullein growing in the yard, and I want to actually make it into some medicine, and I just haven't yet. So are you planning any workshops or anything where if we have things growing, maybe we could bring it and, you could show us how to make it into some medicine?
I would love to. Well, now, I love, I love to do that. That's my favorite thing to do, like plant identification walks, going around, poking at stuff. It is also, with spring coming up, the perfect time to make, one of my favorite first things to make of the year is a spring tonic vinegar, like spring herb infused vinegar. And I do have a video already on the YouTube channel as to how to make it. And it's very easy because you can use everything that first comes up. Like before, when we started as hunter-gatherers, after a cold winter of mostly like frozen things, or maybe the dried things or things that you could preserve, like meats and things like that, it was time to jumpstart the digestive system again, to cleanse. And so you would eat those first green things that came up. So a easy vinegar for spring is like apple cider vinegar, and then whatever you can get, like dandelions, violets, mullein is good, chickweed, plantain is amazing, burdock root, all those green things that start to peep up aromatically. I make a huge thing of spring tonic vinegar because I like to use it for salad dressings, hair rinse. You can use it in your soups, in your stews. You could just use it to make a little mocktail or cocktail with, but it's really one of the best things, I think, to kick off. And it's easy, it's real forgiving. You don't have to like have special equipment or, so.
No, okay, great. So I'm definitely gonna, this year maybe will be the year. Because I actually have mullein that I cut from the yard. I probably cut maybe 1/8 of the mullein that I have, because I put a plant out year before last, which has quadrupled in size. Last year it was 4 times as big as what it was before. So I see why people dig it up and give it away, because it can take over some things.
Prolific.
Yeah. And so now you talked about mullein. Mullein, is that one of the herbs that you recommend for the do-it-yourself respiratory health program that you put together?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do, and because I like the fact that it's relatively easy to find. Like you said, it's very prolific. You can find it a lot of places. It's also one of the herbs that's pretty easy to identify. There aren't any, I don't think, like poisonous lookalikes. You know, it's really easy to be sure you have mullein, and it is such a multi-purpose herb. You know, like the root is good for back issues, the spine. The leaf, like I said, can be made into a tea or a tincture, or you could smoke it. The flower is also good for particular types of medicine. I mean, and if you just get one herb into your life, especially if you have asthma or COPD or emphysema, or you're just dealing with the environmental injustices of air pollution, then mullein is a great herb to begin to get to know. You know, it's okay to just know one herb really well too.
Yeah, I'm kind of a monogamous kind of girl anyway.
You are, yes.
So, me and mullein, I think we'll get together. Since it's growing, it grows. But I have a lot of burdock too. I mean, I have a lot of burdock, a lot of mullein. Of course, my sage bush plant, which is now a bush. I've been wanting to get some rosemary. I've read or heard that some women in the South have rosemary bushes in their homes, like at the front door of their homes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so Lottie, tell us, what is the next video on Earthseed Detroit that will be released on YouTube?
Okay, the next one. Well,
the latest one.
Oh, the latest, the one I just released?
Yeah, either the next one or the latest one, whichever one you.
Okay. Well, lately I haven't been focusing on plants and stuff a lot, because Earthseed Detroit, the channel, is about like sustainable living. And so I've been focusing on a few other things like healthy cooking. I just put up sort of a what I eat in a day video.
So wait, I just want to say we got a comment here from Incense Love Meditation. Thanks so much for watching. She said that when she had COVID, her mentor recommended that she take mullein, and she did it in a tincture.
All right. That's what's up. I need to shout out Incense Love Meditation, because you got to buy some incense from Incense Love Meditation. I order my incense almost pretty much exclusively from her now. And I just want to shout out quality. Love it. Thank you. And I'm glad that mullein, did it help? I hope it helped. I'm glad that supportive herb. So good. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, good. So, all right. So right now you're talking about what you eat in a day.
Yeah,
now, what's important for us? How does this relate to Earthseed Detroit?
Okay.
Why is what you're eating in a day? How does that relate to the whole notion of this Earthseed Detroit? What is that?
So it relates because my channel is not only like my creative space, right? Like I need a place where I can just be creative. And it's also, like I said, a lifestyle, like healthy lifestyle curation. So it's seasonally appropriate content, like how do you eat healthy like every day? Like, I see chefs making beautiful stuff all the time. And I'm like, but what you really eat like, what do you really eat when there's like nothing in the house, or when you just got up? So it was just kind of like quick, the everydayness of it is what I want to convey to people. First of all, it's like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You can do it. I want to be encouraging.
You can do it.
You can do it. And I like the everydayness of it. Like, how can I make this a way of life? How can I eat healthy every day? It's easy to eat healthy when I first go to the grocery store and have stocked up, or when it's farmers market season. But what about the days when I'm like, you know what now? So it's a way to, you know, be encouraging, share some recipes. And the other latest video I did was putting together a thrifted, mostly thrifted sort of closet for my grandkids. Like I was sort of explaining this necessity of these play clothes and how to just be, you know, ready for whatever. So, you know, and other stuff I do is like, there'll be gardening videos. I think coming up soon, I'm going to do, like I said, some more herbs and tarot. And with spring coming, to more little what's poppin' series where I really just go around. I'm like, look at that plant. Look at that plant. Look at that plant. Look at that.
That's cool. So Incense Love Meditation said that the mullein was very helpful, and it helped her not to get congested. She said she was concerned about pneumonia, and I guess she didn't get pneumonia because it was very helpful. That mullein was helpful with getting over COVID. So that's great. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention, I know we're both parties to a grant, and you have something coming up next month in March. I would love for you to talk to us a little bit about that.
Thank you for bringing that up. So next month, Sanaa and I are both a part of a group called Passing the Torch, Preserving the Flame with the Wisdom Institute. And we're doing community-centered events around healing justice. And mine is, this will be the second year. We're going to do a Harriet tea for Harriet Tubman. And I'm going to get the links out pretty soon so that folks.
Harriet Tubman was an herbalist. I never would have thought of Harriet Tubman as
Tubman was an herbalist. Yes, she yeah. Among other things, all badassery. Hashtag badassery. So last year we did a Harriet tea, which was an online, it was just like take a picture with your tea, because I had made, Earthseed Detroit has a blend called Liberation Tea, which is available on the website. I'll probably run a special on that tea around the time of the Harriet Tubman Tea Party, which will be March 10th. So stay tuned to my channel for ways to participate. I'll be sending out some information about Harriet Tubman, and I'm going to do a book raffle for the book She Came to Slay, which is the life and times of Harriet Tubman. So yeah, that's coming up the beginning of March. That's going to be kind of my first event, you know, because the pandemic had us all like, so this will be a nice offering, I think, for folks to take part in.
It will definitely be a nice offering. Definitely be a nice offering. I'm looking forward to it because I learned something new. And, you know, we hear about, well, when I was growing up, we would hear about Harriet Tubman during Black History Month. And really, I think hearing about her in Women's History Month is, even as an herbalist, something which for me is very utilizes feminine energy, because it's utilizing the energy of the earth, and it's taking things and putting it together and making it into something that can be healing. For me, and that's what Center Her Power is all about, is connecting us to our brightest selves through nature, through dance, and connecting to the divine feminine. So I'm looking forward to being a part of the Harriet tea. Definitely looking forward to it. All right. So Lottie, is there anything else that you have coming up that you want to share with us today?
Well, I am going to be getting together some spring classes. So again, if you would follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or follow me on Facebook, that would be awesome, so that I can you can be aware. And yeah, really just going to try to, I'm just getting back online with classes, so I'm looking forward to teaching some classes again. Hopefully we can do a plant identification walk too. Go to the park, actually go to the park. But nothing.
Yeah, but that's good. So we have some things coming up. So just keep her informed. Incense Love Meditation says definitely let her know about the Harriet tea. So she definitely, we have to let her know. And then, you know, there'll be more happening. A lot of times people and organizations call on you to do workshops. So you can, sometimes you can do your own. Been calling you. Now I know last year you did something with Keep Growing Detroit. You did what was that you did last year?
The do-it-yourself community health. We were talking about doing another one of those, so that would be cool. Do-it-yourself community health, where folks could learn to grow respiratory herbs and learn how to make respiratory medicine. I'm gonna be doing some intuitive vision board sessions, I think quarterly, with Healing by Choice. So yeah, you're right. A lot of organizations call and have me do stuff for employees, for employee healing justice, so
Mhm.
I'll
Okay.
keep it
All
up.
right. Lottie Spady of Earthseed Detroit, thank you so much for joining me here on Center Her Power podcast. And be sure you look for the episode on Center Her Power podcast. That'll be coming out hopefully this week. So who is this? Somebody said, thank you. Heal us all. Ladies, I'm loving this. I'm so happy and proud of you both. Listen, love you both. Goddesses, thank
Oh,
you. Thank you.
so
Thank
much love. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much for reaching.
We always have a good time when we get together.
Yes. All right. So be sure to tune in so you can hear the other three Octavia E. Butler tarot cards and the herbs that correspond to them. That's going to be on the podcast, and she's going to also tell us about how she started Earthseed Detroit and give us a little more background, because Lottie is deep. She's got a lot. She's got a lot of really great information to share. So look for the podcast. All right, Lottie Spady. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. Did I say it was free? It's totally free. You don't have to pay anything to get started. There are creation tools, and you can edit and trim the end. You can record. There's intro music that you can use. It has so many really cool features that I really needed as I was starting to podcast. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM and get started. Go ahead, download, get started. Let your voice be heard. Thank you so much for joining me for In the Center of Her Power podcast. I sincerely hope that you were fed with divine feminine soul food. Please like or subscribe or share the podcast. And until next time, shine.